Good evening, and welcome to NNX, where we give you campus news faster than you can eat a bowl of mac and cheese. I'm Paris Franzway.
And I'm Jonas Blum. Let's dive right into tonight's stories. Starting off tonight, nearly 2 weeks after the Clark Street Beach shooting that left 1 dead and 2 injured, no one has been arrested. The Evanston Police Department's last public update on the shooting was on April 13th, 1 day after the shooting. On Monday, Evanston Police Commander Ryan Glue telling NNN that he has no additional updates to share at this time. The 2 suspects in the case fled initially on foot and then by car up Sheridan Road. Glue told NNN that police did not pursue the suspects that night because they were already gone by the time police arrived. But criminal justice professor David Carter says this is typical in homicide cases.
You probably wouldn't chase him down, unless it was immediate. Mm-hmm. You know, if immediately are right there, but if there's any kind of time frame, it's probably a waste of time.
Joining us in the studio is NNN's Logan Skijana, who's been following this story for us. So Logan, if police don't go after the suspects, what do they do to gather evidence?
Well, there's a number of things they can do, Jonas. After the initial, suspects flee, they can look at cameras in and around the crime scene. Presumably there's a lot of cameras on Sheridan Road, whether that be in traffic lights or on street poles. They can also scour the victim's social media. This incident was between 2 groups, so there's a possibility that the suspect knew the victims. So they can look, what groups the victim was involved in, and they can also look at, they can talk to witnesses, because that's probably one of the most important things. There was many people at the beach that night, so they can see kind of what was going on exactly.
And did the expert you spoke with say anything about why EPD might be staying quiet?
Well, there's kind of 2 theories as to why EPD might be staying silent. The first one's pretty obvious. They don't really have any new information. They're still kind of working through leads. The other one is that they might not want to tip off the suspects. They might not want to say things to the public that the suspects also here know that they're kind of close to figuring out who this is, and then the suspects might flee and get out of the area.
Excellent reporting, Logan. Thank you for coming on. NNN will continue to monitor this story for updates.
This weekend, Evanston celebrated Earth Day. Across the city were events focused on raising awareness for environmentalism and opportunities to protect the place we call home. Dozens of Evanstonians were at the Ecology Center's Earth Day event, bringing together 19 local organizations focused on bettering the environment for its annual celebration. While the event featured family-friendly activities like bubbles and a book swap, there was also a focus on making strides towards environmental reform. And on the main Dempster Mile, some Evanston residents did their part to make the earth a better place. Saturday morning, almost 100 volunteers cleaned up the community with a trash cleanup. Among the volunteers, Northwestern sorority Tri Delta members, many cleaning garbage out from underneath the Metra train tracks. Frio Gelato on Chicago and Dempster even offered free gelato scoops for people who showed their green wristbands from the cleanup. And local officials, including 4th Ward Alderman Jonathan Newsma, came out to show their support. The main Dempster Mile is located just south of downtown Evanston and will be partnering with Evanston Made to feature artwork in the local businesses this spring. The city of Evanston is hosting other Earth Month events coming up, including a tree planting. You can access more information by scanning the QR code below.
And in celebrating the land our campus was built on, the Northwestern Native American and Indigenous Student Alliance, or NYSA, hosted the 2nd annual Spring Powwow on Saturday. Taking place in Wells Shrine Arena, the powwow included special performances from reservation groups as well as the Northwestern Mariachi. Vendors were also invited to sell their handmade jewelry, art, and clothing. Open to all the Northwestern community members, the powwow focused on sharing an intergenerational cultural celebration of the earth.
Take a special day to give thanks to our land and try and remind everybody here, especially like undergrad students that have the drive to push further initiatives, that our land should be protected.
NYSA is hoping to host more events like this in the future, seeking to further their initiative of creating a safe space for Native and Indigenous students on campus.
As spring arrives, prom season is approaching high schoolers across the country. For students scrambling to find the perfect dress, the Evanston Women's Club is here to help. The organization hosted the Dreams Delivered Boutique, a spot for high school students to shop for prom dresses. But it's not your typical dress store. this boutique offers dresses, shoes, and jewelry at no cost. The items are donated to or purchased by the Evanston's Women's Club in hopes of removing barriers and enabling all students to attend their prom. Through this initiative, Dreams Delivered has outfitted more than 900 students over the past 15 years.
When we see a student, the smile on the student's face when they've chosen their dress and their shoes and their jewelry, it's very rewarding. And
now we have NNN's Sadie Frankel here in the studio to tell us a little bit more about the event. Thank you for joining us, Sadie. So what exactly is the vision behind the Dreams Delivered boutique?
Thank you so much for having me. Essentially, it's an affordable way for students to be able to afford prom dresses and shoes and jewelry. They supply all of those for free for local students in high school who wanted to attend prom.
Wow, that's amazing. And I heard you were at the event. How did that go?
It was a great event. I spoke to a couple of the people who were organizing it, and they all said it was exactly what they wanted to have happen. They outfitted over 100 people, as you said, and it was really just incredible. It was a 3-day event. I went on day 2, and they still had plenty of dresses left to choose from. It was just really inspiring to see all those students who were able to attend prom.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Sadie. The boutique is now closed, but it will be ready to deliver for a new prom next spring.
And on Wednesday of last week, students from Northwestern's Hillel handed out yellow daffodils to commemorate Yom HaShoah, or Holocaust Remembrance Day. The day also marking the 80th anniversary of when inhabitants of the Warsaw Ghetto resisted the efforts of German troops to deport them to concentration camps. In remembrance, Northwestern Hillel handed out yellow daffodils to students and community members at Norris. The idea coming from an alternative spring break trip to Poland, where students immerse themselves in community and service.
It's on all of us, Jewish or not Jewish, to remember the Holocaust and remember the atrocities that happened. And it's not just Jews that could and should be wearing a yellow daffodil and expressing support.
And throughout the week, Hillel also hosted speakers and discussions promoting educational awareness to remember the victims of the Holocaust.
And while Evanston has plenty of restaurant options, one thing is missing: a classic Jewish deli. NNN's Max Rothfeder went to a new pop-up restaurant cooking up a solution.
Everyone likes bagels.
Bagels are a classic within the Jewish deli scene. They're the kind of food Minch's co-owner and Evanston restaurateur Jack DeMar grew up eating.
I grew up on the North Shore. My family's Jewish. I'm very used to eating kind of the lox and nosh spreads on the weekends.
When DeMar's longtime friend Eric Kogan had an idea for a new pop-up restaurant, a deli was the perfect choice.
We looked around and figured there isn't a really great place to eat this kind of food, so why don't we try to do it ourselves?
They named the restaurant Minch's, a Yiddish phrase meaning a good person.
We thought it would be a cute brand and kind of representative of who we are as people in the community that we want to create within the restaurant.
And a menu featuring deli classics like freshly baked babka and bagels with lox.
I got an avocado bagel on a sesame bagel. I'm very excited about it.
After just 1 week, they have lines out the door and repeat customers.
This is my second time coming here, getting the same thing, so I'm definitely a happy customer.
Minch's is currently open from 10 to 2 every Saturday and Sunday here inside Picnic, but their hope is to move into a permanent location full-time in the future.
Do more of a broad Jewish deli type menu with, corned beef sandwiches and matzo ball soup and latkes and all that good stuff.
A restaurant inspired by Jewish classics, but welcoming to all.
I hope we become a staple in the Jewish community, but this is a non-denominational, deli. This is for everybody.
And that's what a delicatessen is all about. Max Rothfeder, Northwestern News Network.
While the pop-up is only scheduled through June 11th, the owners say they will continue to build the Mensch's brand in anticipation of opening a brick-and-mortar store within the next year.
Now, Paris, I haven't been to the bagel place yet. Have you been?
So I haven't been, but my roommates went and they said we should all definitely go. They really loved it.
Oh, that sounds great. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks so much for watching.
Stay tuned for the Northwestern News Report and Politicat coming up next. I'm Paris Franzway.
And I'm Jonas Blum. Have a great night.